retirement can be complicated, and today's uncertainty can add to the confusion.
How do I know if I have enough money to last retirement?
Do I have to file taxes when I retire?
How can I maximize the amount of money I get when I retire?
Is there a right or wrong way to file for Social Security?
Can I leave money for my children without going through probate?
We are all unique, and your retirement plan should be just as unique. We have the experience and knowledge to help you make the right choices, giving you more time for what really matters most. Thank you for joining us on Retirement Now with your host, April Roberts.
Welcome, I'm Mark Henry, and you're watching Retirement Now television. Of course, that means I'm joined with the CEO of Roberts Wealth, April Roberts. April, thanks for being on again today and having me on.
Oh, Mark, so good to be here with you.
Well, I enjoy this show so much, and I love what you do. For the viewing audience that's new with us, you've got a really unique firm when it comes to the advisory services you offer, and that's what makes me so passionate about this, and it's actually your enthusiasm, I think, is what also drew me to this show. So, you know, there's several challenges that retirees are facing, but when I talk to you, you're kind of using, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but like maybe unconventional financial wisdom to help guide people through this. Yeah. And it seemed like, April, in our discussions that you focus so much on the planning side. Tell me about that. Expand on that for me for a minute, about why you feel that is the most important thing, to have this written plan.
Yeah, Mark, I love to disrupt things. And so, you know, my dad founded our company, and he loves that he has 3 younger children in the business, because we bring new ideas and he has the wisdom, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so what my grandfather always said, if you do what everyone does, you'll have what everyone has. And, you know, the mission statement of our company is to empower people to live their best lives. So that's what really drives me. And I find that by giving them confidence in their finances and really checking everything and making sure there are no blind spots, we help them to make the best decisions for themselves and their families. And so that's what's most important to us.
Well, and that, I love it. You know, I don't know, when I talk to this and I do these shows around the country, but so many people don't even have one of the key things you said, and I hope our viewing audience heard that, but a mission statement.
Yeah.
And so repeat that to me one more time, because I want to have it locked in my brain, because I loved it. What was it again?
Yeah, so our actually full mission statement is to create a safe environment where people feel real and authentic, so that they can open up and we can help to empower them to live their best lives possible.
See, when I think about retirement, April, and I know you know this because this is what you do for a living every day, but it's this idea that you've worked so hard to get these assets. But when people come in and I say, like, I know you do this, you'll say, so show me your current plan. And they bring out statements. Yeah. Somebody has led them to believe that a financial statement is a retirement plan, and it's anything but that. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I always say everyone has a plan. They just don't know what it looks like. So let's help you figure out what this plan looks like. Sure. And people are often shocked that it's not going to accomplish the goals and the things that are important to them. And so, you know, we want to get you a plan that follows your values, reaches the goals you've set for you and your family, and also that you can be confident will get you to and through retirement.
Well, that's one of the things when we were talking before the camera came on, you know, live television, but before that happened, when you said that you hear quite often clients and prospective clients, people coming to meet you for the first time, say, April, nobody's ever asked me that before. Yeah. And it sounds like you just ask questions that are different, but they seem so natural to me. When you made that comment, you said, Mark, you know, we asked them, what does it look like 5 years from now for you to look back and say, I am so glad I joined Roberts Financial. And they're like, I can't believe other advisors don't ask that question.
Right.
Is that more because they're doing that big box retailer cookie cutter type thing?
Absolutely. You've got to think, if you're working with a big company, They have a business plan. It doesn't mean that the man or woman sitting across the table from you is a bad person,
Right.
but if they veer too much from that plan, that large company crumbles. So as an independent advisor, which, my dad didn't let me speak to a client or introduce him at a dinner seminar until I had my Series 65, making me a fiduciary. And we just believe in doing what's in the best interest for people. I mean, at the end of the day, no one pays our rent. No one keeps the lights on in our office. That's what we do for our clients. And there's risk involved in that, but it allows us to really find what we feel is best for our clients.
But with that said, that's to me what separates you and your firm from, I hate to say most, but from the big box retailers, because they're more stockbroker advisory relationships where they want to work off commission and you're fee based.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a distinct difference. And you do have that legal fiduciary requirement.
Yes, sir.
And you take that very seriously. I know you do. And I love that. That to me, like when I'm thinking about what I would look for in an advisor, this is kind of it. I mean, that's what I would want, someone that does that. So let's talk more about when someone calls, because we're going to make an amazing offer. And I'm going to have to call you out on that again because I want to make sure I heard you correctly when I took my notes. I have the notes, but I want to make sure I heard you correctly. But when someone comes into that office, your office, on the first time, they've got to be nervous.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you think? Because like they've called in for this amazing offer, but is it really amazing, or is it, what's really going on here? So describe what that looks like when they come in the first time.
So when they come in, we like to be prompt because I want to be, everyone's time is valuable and I always want to honor people's time. In fact, the first question I ask when we sit down is, hey guys, I have an hour and a half on my calendar for our meeting. What do you have? Do I need to get you out of here sooner than that, right?
Love that.
And so we just want to make sure we're there for them. We don't want to rush them. And I always tell, we call them client advocates. So our ladies that sit at the front desk, it happens to be all women now, but in the future it could be men. And so I always just say, hey, when they're coming in, remember, Mr. Jones might be coming from downtown. Right. Mrs. Jones might have been working at the hospital all day. They're just seeing each other in our office. Like, offer them something to drink, offer a snack, and back off. Give them that moment, to gather their wits. And I just think it's very important to create that environment. I told you it's part of our mission statement, a safe haven where people can be real. And same when we sit down, most of our conference tables are round or oval because we want to be sitting around the table with you. That's part of what we do.
But I think also, and I don't want to make this about gender and stuff, but I think also that's what you bring to the table that just quite bluntly, I don't know that I would look at those details like that. And it's just something, and I think that's so awesome that you do that. I think that's just, and so it sounds like it's a very informal, maybe that's a nice get together to understand what they're trying to accomplish with these assets they've collected.
Absolutely. I mean, right after the question about time, I just ask, hey guys, what do you want to talk about today? And, I learned this from my dad. I love this. If you left here and you're driving home, what are you guys saying was so great about this meeting? Like, what are we going to cover that's going to make you feel better? And so we kind of have them create the agenda with us. Now, don't get me wrong, Mark, we have a process just like everyone does. I mean, if you went into your doctor's office and they didn't follow process, you'd be a little concerned, right? I mean, I'm basically diagnosing your finances, so I need to follow my process. But, Dad and I have been doing this a while, so we can bob and weave in the process because it's your time.
Well, I love that, and I love that it's a financial firm. They're already talking about your April. This show is going so fast, but we're going to have to go to a commercial break. But before we do, I want to make sure I got this right. You told me that you will personally sit down with the people that call in and at least be involved in the creation of that. Is that right? You are going to meet with them.
Absolutely. These decisions
or your father, maybe.
Yes, these decisions are too critical right now.
To pass off. I just love that. So listen, let's do this. Let's open the phone lines right now. And here's what you're calling in for. An opportunity to get a full-blown complimentary at no charge financial review. Now look, this is up to like a $1,500 value. The number to call, 713-999-4499. Again, 713-999-4499. And this is an opportunity to create your very own personalized retirement plan. This is an amazing offer, but guess what? You do have to do one thing. You're going to have to get up off the couch and go pick up the phone and dial 713-999-4499. We've got so much more with April several coming up on Retirement Now television, so stay tuned.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to Retirement Now television. I'm your co-host, Mark Henry, and of course, I'm joined with the CEO of Roberts Wealth. And this has been so fun. I am just enjoying this show so much today. And we talked so much about the planning part, but I think it's probably the most overlooked part of financial planning. And people say, what do you mean by that? Everybody has statements, but what they don't have is how to do that. So one of the things I want to talk about is these parts of a plan, because you said something off camera to me that I thought was so impactful, that most firms don't take into consideration things like an income plan and which account should you take money out of first?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so impactful, because I think there's a lot of people that are pre-retirees that are going to retire in the next few years, or retirees watching today, and they don't really know what account they ought to be withdrawing from. So expound on that for me about what you meant by that, the actual planning process, and how you help them determine where the money comes from.
Yep. So at the beginning, we do a full financial plan for our clients. Okay. I like to call it a retirement plan, because that's everyone's end goal, no matter what age they come to visit us.
Sure.
And absolutely, one thing, Mark, I always explain is the closer you get to retirement, the more important it is to have an income bucket and a growth bucket. And these should be separate buckets.
Okay.
You know, I always make fun of income and growth funds. Like, what the heck is it doing? It sounds confused to me, right? You know,
it doesn't even know what it's doing. I don't think.
Exactly. And also the person who is in the fund probably doesn't know what it's doing, right? So, you know, we want to clarify, I mean, everything goes into your plan. The other thing I see missing a lot, even, you know, my engineer clients that come in with their spreadsheets, okay, where's inflation? Oh, I didn't think about that.
Wow.
Oh, you're assuming you're making 6% every single year? How is that miraculously going to happen, right? So, you know, it's current income, it's future income. How is this inflation
going to affect my plan?
This?
Sure.
How do taxes affect this? You know, where's your income coming from? And then also, how are we going to grow this money? And, you know, Mark, if you retire in a year that the market tanks and you're invested in the market, the future of your money looks a lot different than if you retire in a year that the market's going up, right?
Sure.
So you can't assume the same rate of return every year. So all of this kind of gets cooked into the financial plan. And I tease clients that the most important part of the plan comes afterward, because, you know, we all know that life doesn't work according to plan, right?
That's right.
So we need to sit down every 6 months and monitor the plan and make sure we're staying on track.
Well, that was one of the things that you told me about, is that, you know, when COVID-19 came out of nowhere. So I think about these retirees that, let's say, retired in December of 19.
Yeah.
And they had had such an amazing year in the markets, and they just thought they were doing great. And they got into January, and it just continued.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it completely stopped. But think, and I know you said this is why your business has been so growing during this. When most companies are seeing setbacks, you're growing and expanding. And financial firms are suffering setbacks.
Yep.
But you're not. And I love that. But it's because people ran into this COVID-19, didn't see it coming, and they had no idea what to do.
Yep.
And then you said the typical big box retail advisor said things like stay the course.
Yeah.
And you said, Mark, that's how the Titanic got sunk. I love that statement, though, because your clients aren't told to stay the course. They can stay the plan.
Right.
Because they have one.
Yep.
But without that, how could you possibly see your accounts go down 20, 30, 40% and know you're still going to be okay?
Well, one, it can't happen in retirement,
It
period.
can't. You shouldn't allow it to happen.
No.
I get that.
And, I'll get on my soapbox here because, as you can
Please.
tell, I'm very passionate about these things.
I
But
like that.
one thing I cannot stand is new potential clients coming in the office and going, well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm almost back to even. In my book, that is not good. Why the heck were you 30-something% down right before retirement anyway? And, in Houston with oil and gas companies, people got really hit because oil and gas stock was down more than the market. And, this is a year where not just what you own, but what type you own is important, because if we were looking at a chart right now, growth stock is here, S&P 500 is here, and value stock is here. And we've never seen in the history such a disparity in the type of stock you should own. So you really need someone digging in deep and monitoring your plan to make these adjustments.
And that right there, again, says so much about your firm, because you are a fiduciary, you're not a stockbroker, you don't work off the commission side, you work off the fee-based, and then you're also tactical account manager.
Yes.
So maybe give me a little idea of how that compares to the typical big box retailer.
Yeah. Well, I like to say, there's three major components to a happy retirement, let's say.
Okay, yeah.
Number one is uninterrupted income. I think all of America learned the importance of that this year, right?
Right.
We want uninterrupted income
or in
for
08
life.
they learned it, but then they had a little gap where they forgot.
And so, in 3 months down the road, they'll forget again. That's why we repeat ourselves again and again. So uninterrupted income is number one. Number two is you still have to grow your money. I mean, inflation is coming. Increased taxes are coming. We don't have control over that, but we do have control over smartly growing your money. And then number three is being smart about the taxes you pay. I've never heard a time that Uncle Sam called and said, hey, Mark, you overpaid me this year. Here you go. You took money out of the wrong bucket, going back to your
let's fix
question.
that. Let's just do it again.
Let's fix that for you. So I want my clients to be empowered and focus on the things we can control. So going back to the growth element, I believe you should still grow your money in retirement. That's why we're going to separate income from growth. We are going to grow your money smartly. So imagine we're going to defend you against volatility, but we're going to try to get in and get growth when times are good. So tactical management is that simple. But, modern portfolio theory, asset allocation, diversification has been ruling since 1952. Mark, if you went in to see your heart surgeon and he said, I'm going to fix you right up, I have this procedure from 1952, let's get rolling.
I'm going to pass.
Right. And yet 90-something% of the industry is still operating this way.
It's been proven that modern portfolio theory just doesn't work anymore. And it did work in the 50s. I totally get that, but the world changed. And with that said, guess who's talking to me right now? It's not you, April. They're talking to me here. That Randy guy, that pesky Randy, says we're going to have to go to a commercial break. But this is an amazing opportunity for people to dial in. I'm going to give you the number, 713-999-4499. But here's what you're calling in for. An opportunity to get a complete, full-blown financial review, including a written financial plan from April Roberts, the CEO of Roberts Wealth. She will sit down with you, go over this plan, and this is a $1,500 value that she's agreed to give away absolutely complimentary with no obligation starting right now. 713-999-4499. You do have to do one thing, and that is pick up your phone right now and dial. Operators are standing by. 713-999-4499. We have a whole lot more coming up next on Retirement TV.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back. I'm Mark Henry. You're on Retirement Now Television. You're watching Retirement Now Television, and that means I'm joined with the CEO of April Roberts of Roberts Wealth. And it's been an amazing show. They're going to need to give you an hour because this thing has gone by. But I love the fact that you present this information that everyone, and I say everyone because really 10 years out from retirement, you need to know this stuff.
Yep.
10 years into retirement, you better know it. And so I love that. And I love how you come from a legacy firm that your father started. And so how long has this firm been in business? You told me. I want the audience to hear that again.
Gosh, so I was, I'm going to age myself here, but I was going off to law school, I think 1998. My dad started in this business, actually a little before that. He was a CPA for 22 years and sold his practice and wanted to go figure out how to help his clients on the financial side because he saw the lack of planning.
But I love that because when I think about this, your education, you're a fiduciary, and your dad was a CPA, and that's why your practice brains all of this stuff. And so it's so important when you think about something as important as retirement. As you said, Mark, you only get one chance to do it right.
Yep.
You know, and I love this. I was talking to April off camera, but she made me laugh, and I'm going to quote her when she said, you know, retirement is the first time in life that you're unemployed and want to stay that way. And I thought that was so funny. So we're having too much fun on the show, but I think that's brilliant because, you know, one day I'm going to retire. It's going to be a long time. You know, I'm very young, and so just make sure I put that out there. But when I do, I'm going to want to stay that way. I may do other things, and you say, Mark, that's what a lot of your clients do. They give back, they do volunteer, they do so many things in life, but they're doing those because they choose to. And that's the value of working with a firm that can bring all the pieces of the puzzle together to make that masterpiece.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's just so impressive. And what y'all are doing is so helpful. But so help me for a second when I think about this. So because you're not in that commission world. So I hear a lot of talk and a lot of people ask questions. I do these shows around the country and they ask questions about what a fee-based advisor, what does that really mean? So it sounds like it's going to be way more expensive when you're fee-based, but it's really not, is it?
No, and that's part of the second meeting. You know, a lot of times people want to know, well, what do you charge in fees? I can't answer that until I have a plan. And one thing I believe in and I stress in our office is transparency about fees, because people deserve to know what they're paying you to judge if you're doing a good job or not. But, you know, what normally I can do in the second meeting is break down what they're truly paying in their current investments, which is not a plan, doesn't include all the work we do, and we're very competitive with what they're paying.
I know that. That's what you told me. I was kind of blown away. So I know it's a tough discussion, but when I brought that up, I knew you could handle it because you said, Mark, people should clearly understand what they're paying.
Absolutely.
But you said they come in and they have no idea.
No.
Been working with them for years, don't even know what it cost.
Yeah.
And I love that you report, you said, Mark, we show it transparently so clearly. And that's just because of your license. I assume that's because of how you've built your practice. The integrity that's behind it.
Yeah, and actually when we give performance reports, even on the growth part of the money, you know, it's time weighted, meaning it's after our fee. So they're seeing their true rate of return. Their financial plan has our fee plugged in. So when I tell you you have X% probability of success, that includes paying us, right? So everything.
I want to make sure I go back and do that because I've looked at financial statements my whole life. You're telling me you report to them after they've paid you.
Yes.
That's one of the few firms in the country that does that. And I've never, I understand why they don't do it.
Right.
Because they want to make their losses look better or their gains look higher.
Yes.
But the reality is, a consumer, as an advocate, I don't care what my return is till after I pay you. I want to know what I actually make or lose.
Exactly.
Because it could be both ways, but I want to know the truth. I don't want to have to add and subtract and look for it and try to find it.
Yeah.
And you just report it to that way up front.
Mm-hmm.
That is, it's just, I get this sense that you don't realize how special your firm that you and your dad have created is. Yeah. That I know you now run it and you're the CEO, but I don't know if you understand how special it is. Being around advisors my entire life and around the country, very few do it the way you're doing it. Offering true financial planning, tactical account management, inflation, taxation in the plans, volatility, showing them the probability of success. I love this idea because it's the information that people need. And so before we get off the air, I want to bring this up. And again, this is that difficult conversation, April, but I know you can handle it. You said that you're not for everybody. But yet the big box retailers, they'll pretty much take anybody.
Yeah.
And you said, Mark, I'm not for everybody, and I don't agree to work with everybody. I just agree to build them a plan.
Yeah.
And so they'll leave, even if they weren't a right fit, they get something out of this, don't they?
Well, absolutely. And that's why we have a 2 to 3 meeting process before you become a client. Mark, I can count on my 2 hands in 12 years, probably one, the number of clients we've lost because we have total transparency. And the other thing is after that, when they sign the paperwork and we move the money, we don't forget that we're their advisor. In fact, we used to do quarterly meetings at, country clubs and have breakfast. We can't right now. We changed it virtually. And my client said, this is so valuable. And I said, do you want it monthly? So the team and I go in one Saturday a month and do live webinars updating our clients on what's going on because things are moving so fast.
April, you are so unique, and I mean that sincerely, in the firm you have helped create. It's really special. And I say that because I'm around the country and I know what's out there, the transparency, all that. I can't believe our show's coming to an end, but before it does, I want to open the phone lines one final time. So operators, live operators are standing by. The number to call, 713-999-4499. You're calling in for an opportunity. You're going to take the next 10 callers to come in and actually sit with April. You'll see her in the office, and they will build you a real financial plan. This is a $1,500 value, and she's giving it away absolutely complimentary, with no obligations for the next 10 callers. And again, that number to call, 713-999-4499. It's a $1,500 value, and the only thing you have to do is pick up the phone and dial 713-999-4499. This has been an amazing show with just a few seconds left. I just have to thank you again for letting me come on and co-host with you today.
Thanks for being here, Mark.
Well, and your firm is truly amazing. This is an incredible opportunity these people have. For the viewing audience, as we go over to and talk to them, to you, the viewing audience, thank you for watching today. Without you, there is no show. And we hope you found the information useful and helpful. We'll see you next week on Retirement Now TV with April Roberts.